What's up, everybody? Welcome back to part 16 of my Making a Murderer documentary series review. This is season 2, episode 6. This episode starts out December 8th, 2016, 3.5 months after Kathleen Zellner filed her motion for scientific testing. Kathleen Zellner and Dr. Reich go pick up 9 pieces of evidence that the state agreed to release. Dr. Reich meets with DNA technical leader Sherry Coolhan to divide the evidence samples. You'll remember her from season 1. She was on the witness stand for a little bit. Dr. Reich feels there was too much DNA on the key to be put there by touch DNA. Kathleen Zellner then got an identical key to the RAV4 and went to the jail and had Stephen Avery hold the key for 12 minutes, and then the DNA recovered from that test was a 1/10 of the amount that the state found on the key. And also remember, they found 0 DNA from Teresa Halbach and a 0 of, even if that was a thing, they found 0 mixture of DNA as well. So it was 100% Stephen Avery's DNA on this key. The levels were very high, and when they did their own testing, the levels came down to about a 1/10 of what the state found. Kathleen Zellner states there is never a mixture of DNA on any of the items found, which would be very rare because Teresa, and I think so anyway, I'm not a DNA expert, I would assume that Teresa Halbach's DNA would be on stuff that she owned or touched of that nature, and that if Stephen Avery's DNA was allegedly on it, that there would at least be a mixture. It wouldn't be 100% his. It would be a mix of his and hers. But what do I know? February 14th, 2007, Valentine's Day 2007, arguments are heard in Brendan Dassey's case, before the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals. Deputy Solicitor General Luke Berg, he's the one trying the case for the state of Wisconsin, says this line: Dassey chose to confess. I said a lot about Attorney General Brad Schimmel in my last video, but I think this guy might be even worse, if not exactly the same. What a ridiculous statement for Luke Berg to make. I'm sure he's going to be like, whoa, I watched the tapes, but, there's nothing wrong there. It was completely fine. But I guarantee you, if it was someone he knew, or his children, that would not be completely fine. What a ridiculous thing for anybody to say, for anybody to be able to watch those tapes and say that Brendan Dassey's statement was not coerced, is in on it, is in on the take, is in on the conspiracy. I don't care. Or they're just a very unintelligent human being themselves and are just going along with the process just because it's what they think they are supposed to do. Brendan Dassey did not choose to confess. He was fed everything and just repeated it back. Ken Kratz holds a press conference inside the courthouse building, it's like in the lobby of the building. But I just finished his book. As a lot of you may or may not know, I did a review series on Ken Kratz's book, and he talks about how he shies away from the media. It's not his thing. He regrets giving the press conference on March 2nd, 2006. For someone that shies away from the media, holding a press conference inside the courthouse building kind of contradicts that statement. But again, what do I know? Ken Kratz then goes on to talk about his book on a number of news/talk shows defending what he wrote in it. And I get it. He's got to go on a media tour to promote his book. But at the same time, don't say you shy away from the media and talking about things. You clearly don't. It's completely your prerogative whether you choose to do it or not. And I don't care. Just don't say that you don't like doing it and then go do it. This is from Kathleen Zellner, when Stephen Avery was taken into custody, they had a warrant to take DNA swabs. The nurse then took 2 groin swabs from Stephen Avery and then realized the warrant did not ask for them, and then she disposed of them, allegedly. Kathleen Zellner thinks investigators kept them and used them to plant the DNA on the hood latch of the RAV4. Here's where it gets a little fishy. The photographers that photographed the hood latch and did the swabbing and whatnot of the hood latch were not the ones that transported. Everybody's good buddy and top investigator, Mark Weirgert, he's the one that turned it over. He's the one that transported it. But on the custody transmittal form, when he dropped it off, he signed the guy's name that actually took the swab off the car and was taking the pictures instead of his own name. So he signed someone else's name on the custody transmittal form, not his own. Why would you do that? Kathleen Zellner believes that Mark Weirgart switched out the swabs, meaning he had this swab and this swab. This swab was the groin swab, and this swab was the one that they did on the hood latch, which probably had nothing on it. So they took this swab, replaced it with this one, put this one in the evidence bag, and that's why there was a pile of DNA on it, because it was fresh from Stephen Avery's groin. That when the nurse allegedly disposed of it, that either she didn't actually dispose of it or the investigators took it from wherever she disposed of it from. Not saying the nurse did anything wrong, but she could have just tossed it out in one of those bins and they just went in there and got it, you know? So she thinks they switched out the swabs. Man, they really did not think this film crew was going to air this 10 years later on the largest streaming service in the world. They would have been much more careful with all the mistakes that they made. Just crazy. Well, that's part 16. Thank you guys for all the support. Once again, I can't appreciate you guys enough for the likes, shares, and the subscriptions. Please subscribe to the channel. It helps it out greatly. Thanks so much for taking the time out to watch this video, everybody. Have a great day. See you again soon.